The following is a fan-made review show. These are not official reviews, nor commissioned, nor monetized videos. All works are featured on this channel are properties of their respective owners. Please support the official releases. Hello, I'm the Gorehound. I review the bloodiest things I get my hands on. Well, it has finally happened. I got my first ever request. Ever since I started up this hobby back in January of 2012, I wrote out a little description of what I'd be conducting on this here channel. In that description, I said I was open to suggestions for videos to be putting out, whether it be for Slaughter Scenario or Anime Bloodbath. Today I'm excited to say that I will be fulfilling that request, and it just so happens to be one of my favorite shows of 2012. I'm talking, of course, about Another. Oh my god, I love this show. I think the characters are great, the story is very compelling, and that ending, holy fuck that ending. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's start from the beginning. Another was a horror novel written in 2009, and it was met with critical acclaim from what I read. So naturally it got adapted into a manga, and then shortly afterwards, after the manga reached its conclusion, the anime surfaced in early 2012. The anime is the subject of today's episode, and I'll be perfectly honest when I say this, that when I said that it was one of my favorite shows of 2012, I meant it. But it wasn't always like that. The premise drew me in, which led me to see the first episode. And while I'm being completely truthful about my first impressions about it, I kinda hated it. The initial mystery got me interested, but it didn't meet my expectations upon first viewing. However, my interest peaked when I was told about a certain scene in the third episode, and from there I was hooked, and I'm glad I got back into it as quickly as I did, otherwise I would have glossed over this series entirely. Enough about my personal experiences. What's the story? The story revolves around Koichi Sakibara, who transfers into his middle school only to find that his classmates are trying to hide something from him. It's later revealed that there's been a curse plaguing the middle school class 3-3 ever since 1972. This curse randomly brings back someone from the dead and alters the memories of the people it interacts with. From that point on, the students of class 3-3 start dying in mysteriously unexplained ways, which amounts to the curse. It's up to Koichi and the mysterious girl Misaki Mei to find the dead one before the whole class falls victim to the curse. Well, if that seems overly complex or convoluted, I'll sum it up in a nutshell. This show is pretty much Final Destination, the anime, and I am dead serious when I say that. This show follows all the same tropes you would see in a Final Destination film. Teenagers to eviscerate? Check. Horrible unexplained accidents chalked up to a curse or some omnipotent being?
This fear is more than just being scared. It's like a presence.
26年前の美咲の話覚えてる？あの出来事が引き金になってね。3年3組は死に近づいてしまったの。
Check. One character has a special power that aids said teens to survival?
私の左目は人形の目なの。見えなくていいものが見えたりするから普段は隠してる。
Check. Violence and gore? Check, 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 and check. It makes so much sense viewing the show from this perspective, and to be fair, if this were the direction that the Final Destination films took off in, instead of becoming the comedies they unintentionally are, sequel after sequel, maybe they'd actually be taken seriously.
Oh my god, are you crazy? After everything that we've been through.
What the fuck are you doing, man? Why are you trying to kill yourself?
I'm just trying to give God what I thought he wanted. I've been trying to kill myself all day.
Okay, maybe not, but that comparison's still valid. The story and the way it's presented is utterly fantastic. It creates such a tense and haunting atmosphere that doesn't lose any of its luster in its 12-episode runtime. All throughout the show, it leaves such a wide scope to be terrifying yet so enjoyable, partly due to the voice actors who are in this production. They did an outstanding job conveying the characters and emotions of troubled teenagers. While this may be a turnoff to some, let me tell you this. These teens recognize the threat at hand. They know what the curse is and they know very well what it's capable of, and they fear it. They understand it's a serious threat, so they do everything in their power to prevent it. It's little things like this that make this series stand out to me as a big horror movie fan. It's a breath of fresh air to see the characters actually doing something productive to prevent their untimely demise, and something more modern horror flicks should take note of and follow its example. Now with that said, no show is perfect, and there are a couple of things wrong with this show that personally don't sit well with me. One of those things being, for the first 2 episodes, nothing really happens. It seems like I'm being kind of an ass when I say that, but honestly is one of the reasons why I originally dropped the show in the first place. The series is a slow burn horror show, and while the material is there to gather viewers, newcomers won't really see the appeal of it right away, as all the good plot points and development start to pick up after 3 relatively dull episodes. And considering how most anime nowadays kind of rush to address conflict in the first episode to garner as much interest as possible, more so than leaving the viewer hanging like another does, I'll give the show some respect in that regard for going against that specific type of storytelling. However, I do see the drawback in using such a method, as proven with my experience with the show. It's a risky gambit. Another thing that bothers me is the actual curse itself. The curse serves as the character's motivation to survive, and I understand that, but we never get to any more details surrounding the curse other than the curse's origin, and I want to know more about it. Are there certain conditions to be met for the curse to resurrect the dead one? I want to know this information. It's surprisingly intriguing. I can't believe I'm faulting a mystery show for being mysterious, but I guess that's a good thing, since it leaves me wanting more. I'm not being too harsh on the show because of this though, as it opens itself up for some room for fans to theory craft some interesting theories on the curse and how it operates, whether it's resurrecting people at random or by design. As you can tell, I'm very interested in the mythos of this curse, and having said that, I'll be delighted to follow up on this series once the second novel of this up-and-coming series gets translated and released to North America. Until then, I'll keep my thoughts on this subject to a minimum until these questions are later addressed in the new book. Meantime, however, I do hope to spark some discussion of this paranormal event in the comments section. All I've left to talk about is the ending, and if what I said at the beginning of the review is any indication, it's fucking insane! Its climax, without giving much away, is jam-packed full of grisly spectacles, and it's done in such a way that feels genuinely thrilling and not at all implausible given the nature of the character's motivations. It's hands down the highlight of the show, which in itself is a reward to the viewer for staying along for the ride and seeing it through to the bitter and bloody end. As for the twist, I won't rob you of that experience, but I will say this: it will hit you hard and heavy, making you reevaluate everything you've seen thus far. It's that good. Overall, the show is a lot of fun. It's thoroughly engaging throughout its 12-episode runtime, and it keeps its audience in suspense with every passing episode. I highly recommend you guys watch this show if you haven't already. The show has left room for a sequel at the end, which I do hope to see adapted to an anime in the distant future, especially with that new novel on the way. Until then, I got the live-action movie to look forward to. Here's what I have to say about that. Please, for the love of all things sacred, please don't suck! Is there one film adaptation of an anime that doesn't flat out suck? I have to get back to you guys on that one. But until then, I'm the Gorehound reviewing the bloodiest things I get my hands on, and I'll see you morbid fuckers next time.